Okay, so let's try this again. I'm going to demonstrate what I want for in-class exercise 3, which again is a reiteration of lab number 2, except using fetch rather than copy and pasting the data here. Okay, so I'm going to start from the beginning, so maybe you can follow along with me, and you can just hand that in. And I did mention in class that at this point I don't care about the button clicks for now. As long as you can display things using map, I'll be happy with that for now. Okay, so let us start from the beginning. Let us look at this. So I need to get this as well as the HTML for the Twitter-like code right there. Okay, let me go back here for a second. Call this index.html. Let's build a scripts as well as a JS file. So the HTML, let me just say !tab to make the skeleton. Again, that's using Emmet. I've already copied the link to the tachyons library, and then we want all of this HTML, which will eventually cut into one article. So let me just save that again. Let's close that up and take a look at what do we have so far. I did make a new folder here. Okay, so it looks good so far. So we want to delete everything except one, and then we'll use that one as a template in our JavaScript. So pretty much everything from here on down. Okay, and that should leave one, right? And then finally, we want to take all of that HTML and we're going to put it in our JavaScript code. In a second, I'll just paste it there for now. Let me just comment that. Great. So now we have the heroes that we're going to use. So let's put that up here. Right? Great. Okay, so now, as soon as I save prettier, change it up. Okay, so let's do something with that. Let's try. So we want to use the heroes. We want to map that out, and we want to say for each hero we want to do something with that. And I'm just going to show what we're doing again, step by step. So let's run that up. Look at the console. Oh. What happened there? Are we running? Oh, right. We forgot to connect that. Let's put it at the bottom here. Okay, let's try that again, refresh. Right, so we got all of the heroes. So what we want to do now is we want to eventually form this markup code for each hero. So let's take this markup code. Let's cut that. We don't need this anymore. And let's just paste it in here for now. Backtick. Paste. So now instead of console logging 3 times, it should create an array of 3 strings, and each of those long strings will be one of these article markups. So just to show that, let's say const HTML snippet. This will be, and then we'll console log that out. Why is there? Okay, console log snippet. Right, because here a map will return an array. It's three elements in, 3 elements out, right? So there it is. Here's my array, and each element in the array is one string, and each string contains the markup. And then if we eventually connect this markup using inner HTML, for example, and hook it up with our main, then we should get that markup inside. So let's try that just to get the bigger picture. So if I say document.query selector and target the main, and we'll assign that node to a variable called main, we can then say main.innerHTML equals HTML snippet. Right, so let's see what happens. We should see 3 of the articles inside, right? So if I inspect the markup inside the main, I now have 3 articles. So 1, 2, 3. I see there's a comma there. I'm sure I forgot to do this in class. Let me fix that up. We need a dot join so that it's the 3 strings that are in the array become one large string. So it connects all the strings in the array into one large string. And there, so the commas are gone. The commas are gone. Great. So now we just have to fix the static values into what we want. So the picture is going to be pick, and since we already are dealing with an individual hero, so what map does again is gonna iterate over each of these heroes. So the first time map runs, it's gonna focus on this object and assign it to the value of hero. So I could then say hero.name or hero.twitter or hero.pick, and it'll give me the corresponding values. So hero.pick. What else? This one will be hero.name. And this one was hero.twitter. So let me see what that does. Wonderful. Okay, so that was the first half of Lab 2. Again, I'm just going to skip the button clicks for now, because for this in-class exercise 3, I'm happy with this so far. But now we need to use fetch. So instead of using this data, I want to use our own Makaru data. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to delete all of this data. Okay. And then I'm going to eventually replace that heroes. I'm going to eventually say that heroes equals data with inside a fetch statement. So here, I'm going to copy the fetch definition from MDN, and then I'll have to make that API as well. That gives us the JSON. All right, so here's fetch, right? Copy that, paste that. Now obviously this API has to change to our Makaru one, but everything else, so here is where I'm going to say heroes equals my JSON, right? Or whatever, data. Because what's happening is fetch is going to go to the Makaru URL, get the JSON data, eventually put it in that JSON data in this form, in this variable, which then I can then assign to heroes. Hold on, heroes should not be a const, it should be a let. Okay, all right. So what is this API? Now, I did discover a new feature within Makaru that allows me to just use one API. I don't have to create 2 APIs anymore, especially for the assignment. So let me show you what I did for the schema. Actually, you know what I'll do? I'll just create a new schema just for this in-class exercise. So my in-class exercise only needs 3 values: a picture, some kind of Twitter handle, and a name. So let me just delete the ID. Maybe I'll just combine these two, and this email will be like my Twitter handle, so I'll just call that Twitter. And this one can be the avatar, and I'll call it pic. Okay, and I don't need the IP address. And maybe I'll just delete one of these names. Do I have a full name at all? App name, first file name, first name, full name. There we go. So we'll just call that name for full name. Okay, and then I just want one JSON and save this schema. And we'll call this hero. Save. Okay, so now that I saved that schema, I have 2 schemas now. I can create an API, and I'm going to use that hero. So here I'm just going to say maybe hero.json, and then here's what I found. Okay, schema. I'm going to type in the name of my schema that I just saved, and here for generate is what I found new, and this will allow us to be more flexible and not have to create 2 APIs. So here you just say, and I got this trick just by reading this documentation and kind of extrapolating what they're doing here. So if we say params, and let's put in some variable like quantity. So what's going to happen is, notice here in their example, what we can do is we can say get the URL, right, whatever this hero.json is, and then add a parameter of quantity qty, which is what we defined here, equals, and then some random number. So we could say 7, and it'll give us 7 Twitter profiles, or give us 2, or give us 1, and it'll do that. So let's check that out. Let's save this, create API, and test it out. There. And where is the URL for the JSON? It's right here. So let's click on that. Okay, so here by default, if I don't put any qty parameter, it just gives 1. But if I say and or ampersand qty equals 7, enter, now it gives me 7. So I just really only need that one API, and then if I need more, I'll just add the parameter of quantity of whatever, and I'll get that. So back here in our code, we'll just say that, and we'll start off with 3. So I'll say quantity equals 3. Okay, so let us see if that works. And let me just go back to our browser. All right, close. We're in a moment of truth. Refresh. Oh, something's wrong. What? Cannot read property map of undefined. Line 25. Let me look at that for a second. Heroes. Oh, yes. Okay, so what's happening is when this JavaScript file runs, it initially has nothing for heroes, and then yet once it reaches this line, I'm telling it to map over nothing. That doesn't make sense. And this is where the asynchronous nature of JavaScript comes into play. So what I really want to do is run this code after it fetches the data, which means I have to copy all this code up to there, cut it out, and put it into here. Or I can create a function. Oh, I'm not sure why it does that. Create a function called render and define that function somewhere else, and then paste the code that I just copied. So that would work too. So let's try that, see if that works. Refresh. There we go. Perfect. So each time I refresh, I should get random people. It works. So this is all you have to do for in-class exercise 3. If you hand that in, you'll get your 2 marks for that. But stay tuned. I'm going to continue on with this exercise in order to show you what to do for lab 3.